My beloved child, pause here for a moment, because what you are about to hear was not placed before you by accident. You may have been ready to keep scrolling, ready to move on to something else, ready to ignore the quiet feeling that has been following you all day, but heaven is asking you to remain still. There is something moving beneath the surface of your life, something your eyes have not fully recognized, yet your spirit has already begun to feel. That gentle pressure in your heart, that sudden thought you cannot explain, that unexpected pull to pray, to wait, to reach out, to release, or to begin again is not meaningless. Do not dismiss it. Do not call it imagination simply because you cannot yet see where it is leading. A holy nudge has entered your spirit, and before this message ends, you will understand why it has become impossible to ignore. You have been asking for a sign, but the sign did not arrive in the dramatic way you expected. You thought the answer would come like thunder, clear and undeniable, removing every doubt in a single moment. Instead, it came softly. It appeared as a thought that returned again and again. It came as a quiet discomfort whenever you tried to walk in a direction that no longer belonged to you. It came as peace surrounding one decision, even though that decision frightened you. It came through a memory, a dream, a conversation, a closed door, or a sudden desire to separate yourself from something that once felt familiar. You almost ignored it because it did not look powerful. But child, some of heaven's greatest instructions arrive as whispers because God is not trying to force you. He is teaching you to recognize His voice. Do not skip what is being spoken over you now, because there is a reason your spirit has been restless. You have sensed that something is changing, but you have not known whether the change is good or whether you should be afraid. Hear this clearly: the stirring within you is not a warning of destruction. It is an invitation into alignment. God is not pulling you toward confusion. He is pulling you out of a place where confusion has been allowed to remain too long. There is a difference between being unsettled because something is wrong and being unsettled because you have outgrown where you are. Your spirit knows the difference, even when your mind tries to argue. You have been trying to make peace with something heaven has been asking you to release. You have been attempting to repair what God may be closing, to reopen what He has allowed to end, or to remain connected to an old version of your life because it feels safer than walking into the unknown. Yet every time you convince yourself to stay the same, the nudge returns. It appears when the room becomes quiet. It follows you into your prayers. It rises when you hear certain words. It presses gently against your heart when you imagine your future. This is not punishment. This is mercy. God loves you too deeply to let you become comfortable in a place that can no longer carry your calling. There is something huge waiting for you, but it is hidden behind one act of obedience that may appear small. Heaven is not always asking for a giant leap. Sometimes the miracle begins when you send one message, make one decision, close one chapter, forgive one person, write one page, submit one application, wake up 1 hour earlier, return to prayer, or finally say no to what has been draining your peace. You keep looking for the whole staircase, but God is illuminating only the next step because trust grows one step at a time. The holy nudge is pointing toward that step. You may be wondering why the feeling has intensified recently. Why now? Why has your heart become more sensitive? Why are certain places, habits, conversations, and relationships suddenly affecting you differently? It is because your season is shifting. What once felt harmless may now feel heavy because you are being prepared to carry something greater. What once satisfied you may now feel empty because your spirit is being awakened to a deeper purpose. You are not becoming ungrateful. You are becoming aware. The hunger inside you is changing because heaven is preparing new nourishment. Stay till the end, because there is a revelation ahead that may explain why you have felt delayed. You have believed that nothing was happening because you could not see visible progress. But behind the silence, God has been rearranging details you were never meant to control. He has been moving people, changing timing, exposing motives, strengthening your discernment, and preparing opportunities that would have overwhelmed the person you were a year ago. The waiting was not empty. The waiting was forming you. There were moments when you thought God had forgotten the prayer you repeated in tears. You watched others receive what you had been hoping for, and you wondered whether your name had somehow been passed over. You smiled for people while privately asking when your own answer would come. You tried to remain faithful, but a quiet ache grew inside you. That ache became the place where the holy nudge first began. It was not telling you that your promise had disappeared. It was telling you that your preparation had entered a deeper stage. Some answers are delayed because the blessing is not only about receiving something, it is about becoming someone. You asked for open doors, but heaven first needed to teach you which doors not to enter. You asked for love, but God first needed to heal the part of you that confused attention with devotion. You asked for increase, but your spirit had to learn that abundance without wisdom can become another form of bondage. You asked for purpose, but purpose required you to release the need to be understood by everyone. Now the nudge is returning because the preparation is reaching a turning point. Listen carefully. There is an old fear trying to disguise itself as wisdom. It tells you to remain where you are because moving forward could lead to disappointment. It reminds you of what failed before. It points toward every reason you might not be ready. It asks you to wait until you feel completely confident. But God is revealing that confidence may not come before obedience. Sometimes confidence is born after you take the step. Sometimes the courage you are waiting to feel is waiting for you on the other side of movement. The holy nudge does not always remove fear. It gives you a peace that is stronger than fear. You may feel your heart trembling while still knowing what you must do. You may have questions while still sensing direction. You may not understand how everything will unfold, yet something deep within you says, "This is the way." That quiet knowing is precious. Protect it from the noise of people who have not heard what God placed in your spirit. Not everyone will understand your next decision. Some will question why you are changing. Others may try to pull you back toward the version of you that was easier for them to recognize. They may call your boundaries distance. They may call your growth pride. They may call your obedience foolishness. But you cannot allow another person's comfort to become the cage that holds your future. God is not asking you to become cold or unkind. He is asking you to become clear. There is a difference between loving people and allowing them to lead your life. You can forgive without returning to the same pattern. You can care without carrying responsibilities God never gave you. You can wish someone well without following them into a place that steals your peace. This is part of the nudge. Heaven is teaching you that spiritual maturity sometimes sounds like a gentle no. Sometimes it looks like silence instead of another argument. Sometimes it means walking away without needing everyone to agree with your reasons. Do not ignore the exhaustion you have felt after certain conversations. Do not ignore how your energy shifts around certain environments. Do not ignore the way your peace disappears when you repeatedly betray your own discernment. God has been speaking through the fruit. What produces peace, clarity, integrity, patience, and courage deserves your attention. What repeatedly produces confusion, fear, guilt, pressure, and inner chaos must be examined honestly. This does not mean every difficult thing is wrong. Some divine assignments are challenging. Some growth requires discomfort. But holy discomfort strengthens you, while unhealthy pressure slowly empties you. One calls you upward, the other keeps you trapped in cycles. Your spirit has been trying to show you the difference, and that is why this message arrived at this exact moment. Something extraordinary is closer than you realize, but heaven is protecting it from premature exposure. You have wanted to tell everyone what you feel is coming. You have wanted reassurance, confirmation, and applause. Yet God may be asking you to keep this next step quiet for a little while. Seeds grow beneath the soil before they appear above the ground. Too much exposure too soon can invite opinions into a place where only faith should be speaking. There are people who will celebrate the fruit but would have doubted the seed. There are people who will understand the outcome but would have discouraged the process. This is why the nudge may be leading you into sacred privacy. Not isolation, but protection. Not secrecy born from fear, but quietness born from wisdom. You do not have to announce every move. Some doors open more beautifully when you stop trying to prove that they are opening. Stay with this message, because the next truth is deeply personal. The reason you have felt a sudden desire to simplify your life is connected to what is coming. You may have wanted to clean your room, organize your plans, remove distractions, finish old tasks, or distance yourself from unnecessary noise. This is not random. Your outer environment is being brought into agreement with an inner transition. Heaven is making space. You cannot carry every old weight into a new season. Some things are not sinful, they are simply complete. Some dreams were right for who you were, but they are too small for who you are becoming. Some relationships were meaningful, but their assignment in your life may be changing. Some routines kept you stable during survival, but now they may be preventing expansion. Honor what helped you, but do not worship what was only meant to be temporary. God is not taking from you without purpose. Every release creates room. Every ending clears a path. Every closed door redirects your steps. You may not understand the full design while standing inside the transition, but heaven sees the finished picture. The nudge is not asking you to understand everything. It is asking you to trust the one who does. You have been carrying a question in your heart: what if I misunderstand the sign? God knows this fear. He knows you want to obey, but you are afraid of making the wrong move. Remember this: divine guidance is not built on panic. God can correct your steps. He is not waiting for one mistake so he can abandon you. If your heart is sincerely seeking truth, heaven is able to redirect you with mercy. The enemy of movement is often the demand for perfect certainty. You keep asking for one more confirmation, one more sign, one more voice, one more guarantee. But there comes a moment when confirmation must become action. You already know more than you are admitting. The answer has appeared in different forms. The same truth has returned through prayer, through circumstances, through peace, and through the quiet conviction you feel right now. Do not skip this next part. The nudge may be connected to a person you have been thinking about unexpectedly. Perhaps their name has entered your mind without explanation. Perhaps you have felt drawn to pray for them, forgive them, contact them, or finally stop waiting for them. The presence of a person in your thoughts does not always mean you are supposed to chase them. Sometimes God brings someone to mind so you can release them. Sometimes it is to intercede. Sometimes it is to prepare for a conversation. Sometimes it is to recognize a lesson. Discern the feeling that accompanies the thought. Is it peaceful or obsessive? Is it compassionate or desperate? Does it lead you toward wisdom or pull you into confusion? God's voice may be urgent, but it is not manipulative. It does not tell you that your worth depends on another person's response. It does not force you to abandon dignity. A holy nudge leads you toward truth, not emotional captivity. There is also something God wants you to know about the silence you have received from someone or something you expected to answer. Silence can feel like rejection, but sometimes silence is protection. Sometimes God prevents a response because a conversation would pull you back into a cycle you finally have strength to leave. Sometimes the absence of closure becomes the doorway through which you discover that your peace no longer needs permission from the past. You have asked why certain people could not see your heart. You gave, waited, explained, and hoped. Still, you felt misunderstood. Child, not everyone who sees your kindness will know how to honor it. Not everyone who receives your light is prepared to walk beside it. Their inability to recognize your value was never proof that you lacked value. It was often proof that they lacked the capacity to hold what you carried. The nudge in your spirit is calling you away from the endless need to convince. Your life will speak. Your healing will speak. Your consistency will speak. The peace surrounding you will say what arguments never could. Stop spending sacred energy trying to make people understand what God is already confirming within you. Something huge is waiting for you, but you must not drag old doubt into the doorway. Doubt may appear, but it cannot be allowed to lead. You have survived moments you once believed would destroy you. You have walked through nights when you could not imagine morning. You have been disappointed, yet your heart still knows how to hope. This is evidence that grace has been carrying you even when you felt alone. Look back for a moment. There were doors you cried over that would have trapped you. There were people you begged to stay whose absence eventually restored your peace. There were plans that failed, only to redirect you towards something wiser. The pattern is clear: God has been protecting you in ways you understood only later. The current nudge is another form of that protection. You are being asked to move before the full explanation arrives. That may feel unfair, but it is where faith becomes real. Faith is not pretending you have no questions. It is choosing to walk with God while carrying them. Abraham moved without seeing the entire destination. Peter stepped onto the water before knowing how long he would stand. Mary accepted a calling that exceeded human understanding. Throughout every sacred story, obedience preceded clarity. Your story is not smaller simply because it is happening quietly. Heaven is not measuring your life by public attention. The most important transformation may be occurring where nobody can applaud it. Every time you choose peace over reaction, truth over comfort, discipline over delay, prayer over panic, and trust over control, you are answering the holy nudge. You have wondered whether your small efforts matter. They do. The prayer whispered while exhausted matters. The boundary maintained when loneliness tempted you matters. The choice to begin again matters. The moment you stopped speaking negatively about yourself matters. Heaven sees the private decisions shaping your future. There is a reason you have felt drawn back to something you once loved. A forgotten gift, a creative desire, a dream from childhood, a place of service, a book you wanted to write, a message you wanted to share, or a skill you abandoned may be returning to your heart. Do not assume it is too late. Some dreams go silent because they are being protected until your character can carry their impact. The nudge may be calling you to revisit what you buried. Not every abandoned dream was meant to remain buried. Some were seeds waiting for the right season. What felt like failure may have been preparation. What felt like lost time may have developed empathy, wisdom, patience, and depth that your future assignment will require. Stay till the end. A final revelation is approaching, and it concerns the timing of the shift you have been sensing. You have been expecting change to arrive from outside you, but God is beginning it within you. The external door cannot remain closed forever once your inner identity has changed. When you stop agreeing with limitation, you stop building your life around it. When you stop calling yourself forgotten, you begin to notice opportunities your insecurity once hid from view. Your spirit is being taught to expect goodness without becoming attached to one method. The answer may not look the way you pictured. The opportunity may come through an unexpected person. The restoration may not mean returning to the past, it may mean receiving something healthier. The breakthrough may not arrive with noise. It may begin as one calm decision that changes everything afterward. This is why you must pay attention. The holy nudge is preparing you to recognize an opening that could be easily overlooked. It may appear ordinary. It may arrive as an invitation, a conversation, an idea, a delay, or even a problem that forces you to see a hidden possibility. Do not judge the door by its appearance. Some of heaven's greatest entrances look small at first. You will know it by the peace. Not perfect comfort, but deep peace. Not the absence of nervousness, but the presence of alignment. Your mind may still ask questions, yet your spirit will become quiet. The old confusion will lose its power. Something inside you will say, "This is what I have been prepared for." But before that opening appears, there is one final thing you must release. It is not a person. It is not a place. It is not even the past itself. It is the belief that you are unworthy of the life you have been praying for. You have carried that belief so quietly that it has hidden beneath humility. You have called yourself realistic when you were actually afraid to hope. You have told yourself not to expect too much because disappointment once hurt deeply. God is touching that hidden place now. He is reminding you that receiving is not arrogance. Walking in purpose is not selfishness. Allowing yourself to be loved well is not asking for too much. Rest is not laziness. Joy is not something you must earn through suffering. You are not being led toward blessing because you are perfect. You are being led because grace has always been greater than your imperfections. The holy nudge is asking you to stop shrinking your expectations to match your past. Your future does not have to repeat what wounded you. A new pattern is possible. A healthy love is possible. Clear direction is possible. Purposeful work is possible. Peace that does not disappear overnight is possible. But you must stop rejecting in your mind what God is trying to place in your hands. You are closer to a decision than you realize. Soon, a moment will come when you must choose between the familiar voice of fear and the quiet voice that has been speaking throughout this message. Fear will be louder. It will present evidence from the past. It will list every risk. But the holy nudge will remain steady. When that moment comes, remember what you felt here. Remember that heaven did not bring you this far to abandon you at the threshold. Remember that the restlessness was not meant to torment you. It was meant to awaken you. Remember that the closed doors were not proof of rejection. They were part of your redirection. There is an instruction already forming inside your spirit. You may not have spoken it aloud, but you know what it is connected to. You felt it when these words mentioned release. You felt it when these words mentioned beginning again. You felt it when these words spoke of the person, the dream, the boundary, or the door. That inner response is not something to fear. Tonight, or perhaps sooner than you expect, one more confirmation will appear. It will not be dramatic enough to convince everyone around you, but it will be personal enough that you will recognize it. It may come through words repeated at the perfect moment. It may come through an unexpected message. It may come through peace after prayer. It may come through a sudden interruption that changes your plans. Do not ignore it. Because when that confirmation arrives, it will reveal that the nudge was not only leading you away from something. It was leading you directly toward an answer you have been waiting for longer than you realize. And what heaven is about to uncover behind that answer will change the way you understand every delay, every closed door, and every quiet moment that brought you here. But there is one hidden detail God has not revealed yet, a detail connected to why this message found you today and why your spirit reacted before your mind could understand. That detail is already moving closer to your life, and when you discover what it is, you will finally see why the holy nudge could not be ignored.